I was part of the English innovations class, but I only joined halfway through the year, so I only managed to have time to do one project, and I wrote a sports article. Oh, there you go. I had to do my ideation at first, so I had to think about different ways I can portray my knowledge that I was wanting to show people. So my first one was obviously a sports article because I wanted to write something about sports, since it's like my passion. And then I thought that I could make an informative brochure about the specific competition that I was going to write about. And then another poster was another idea, but I just then went into the pros and cons of each of them and wrote a little text. Sorry, it's a little bit covered right now. I messed up my formatting, but my bad. But it's just the pros and cons of each of them written out, and then why I've decided that that either isn't best for me or either is best for me. And in the end, I decided to go for the sports article, as before. This was my statement that I was going to create. It was, I will create a sports article about the upcoming Guinness Six Nations, which is a rugby tournament with only 6 nations in it, the best teams in Europe, and yeah. So I had to make like goals and my objectives that I was gonna try and complete. All of the times were the 26th of April because that's when it was due. I wanted to use lots of adjectives to make it like really entertaining for people to read and understand. I wanted to be really knowledgeable about the subject, so I could then take my own outlooks on it and then build upon things that other people have said, so I can write my own way of showing my knowledge. And then I also wanted to make sure that I read it back because I have a tendency to not have great spelling or grammar, so I wanted to make sure that that was all perfect. Miss Allen will tell you that my grammar is amazing. Yeah, and then my final this was my final product. I managed to, great. Wait 1 second. Should get an email in a second.
That's good, we're building the suspense.
Yeah, it's gonna be, you're not ready for it. If it shows up.
Wow, I wonder where it is.
Here we go. So I made this article and I managed to steal the BBC headline thing so I could put it in my own so it looks really professional and amazing. So then I went into the actual BBC and saw how they formatted theirs as well. So they always started with the title and it was always like bolded, and then they went into like a general paragraph about what happens and what it's about, and then they went into like a short little thing, and then they finally went into a small about the team and who, like some specific players who they're talking about, such as Jack Crowley, who's like the new upcoming player. But then I finally went into the first game of the Six Nations as I wanted to write about it, since it was quite a strong game. It was quite entertaining, and so I'd just write about it, and it was pretty good. And then yeah, that's pretty much sources. Everything are all included. Perfect. What do I do here? Do I think? There you go. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Any questions, guys?
So Peter, like, what group of people do you think was your target audience for this project?
My target audience was people who are interested about the sport but haven't heard about it in a while. So obviously some people in the world are quite, like, they love the game, but they don't hear about it as often because a lot of channels don't show, like, say, like the Premiership or the Super Rugby, which is the different leagues. And some people don't, a lot of channels don't show that, but obviously once the Six Nations or the World Cup was on, it always on TV, like BBC and ITV and all that.
So Peter, it was supposed to be a news article, no?
Yeah, like a news, sports, total scores and everything, kind of.
So it wasn't like no opinions or no.
There are
editorials
some
or-
slight opinions at the top and the bottom about
Okay.
how it was, but it was supposed to be like just like a flat out, just for everyone who can read.
Okay. How would you develop these ideas or this whatever skills you have acquired
Yeah.
there, like formatting and writing? Where would you have you thought about ways where you could take that next? What would be
I
a
haven't-
natural follow-up? So,
No, I haven't thought about that yet, but I was thinking about furthering this next year because I'm going to do English innovations again. So I'm going to see if I can further my knowledge and hopefully use it again here.
Yeah, I wonder how you could take the next step. What might be the next step in terms of your development as a sports writer?
Maybe I would create my own like website, news website, and I could then put all of my articles in there. So I think I will write a few more because it's quite fun.
So you want to create your own online presence. Yeah, that's a nice development, isn't it? Where you become more visible and it becomes more outward looking beyond the school project. It becomes something that's out there. Yeah. What would you need to know to make a success of that?
I think I would really need to know. Obviously you would have to know like specific colors and everything that matches for people. That if some colors attract eye attention, right? So you have to make sure that you use the right colors and all of that, like popping colors, and you have to use the right formatting, right fonts, and everything. You would have to know pretty much everything.
So you know a little bit about sort of colour
Yeah.
theory or design.
Yeah, that was in my research.
Great.
Probably should add.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering if you thought about how you could make your product more accessible in terms of people who can't see, for example. Like, would you make an audio version of your article then, or like, because if you're talking about creating your own website, obviously it needs to be accessible
Yeah.
to all types of different people, and with the colors, I guess people, colorblind individuals. So I just want to know how you would tackle that challenge.
Obviously, audio recordings, you can always just read it and they explain what's going on. You can pretty much just read the article because everyone's reading it anyway. People just listen to it. With the colors, I feel like that's pretty difficult to work around. I guess you'd have to really focus on which colors people with color blindness can't see and which colors they can see, since all people with color blindness have different colors they can't see. So you would probably have to really look into that and see which ones are most effective.
I think we've just prompted another sort of angle of research for
Yeah.
Peter. Thanks, Tasha. Yeah. Just to imagine.
but maybe along those lines, I would imagine, amazing that you got this far, but I would imagine it's very difficult to find a niche among all these corporate, places like the BBC who produce news.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you compete with those. So if you were to do some market research with me,
Yeah.
I would be interested to read stuff like your opinions on like, I don't know, who decides what are the 6 best nations to be
Yeah.
in the 6 nations? Why is Romania not in it or something?
Yeah.
If you give me some sort of background story and research article, I think that would be interesting because the new stuff, and I suppose I'm very set like most people, I go to the BBC.
Yeah, I agree. I think personal opinions would probably like make mine stand out a bit more, since I would have my own personal opinions about it. But I feel like it's kind of difficult now, since we have all of those really high branding, like high corporate news agencies. They're all just going to be like people's instant. If they're looking for something, they're just going to search up on there straight away, which just makes it difficult for like smaller people to make it. Me. Yeah.
Thanks, Peter.
Perfect.